This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner. I'm not going to continue this analogy with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website. You betcha.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Might I say what joy it is to work with you both.
I dig it.
I've had pretty much the perfect week this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. England beat Germany in the European Championships, and I went
I'd like to
to
discuss
a
that.
Thomas Becket exhibition at the British Museum. I mean, all my Christmases have come at once. It was
Sounds
lovely.
like the sort of week where you didn't even need Doctor Who to lean on, but I bet you had some anyway.
There was a
just
little
as
bit of
sort
Doctor Who. You've got to have some cement between the house bricks.
Oh, there's always some
I was-
Daleks knocking about, Al.
Isn't there?
And there wasn't any Daleks this week, actually.
Oh,
Okay. Cyberman having a cigarette.
Otherwise perfect week.
Anyway, I actually went. I went on Tuesday.
I know that.
yes.
Can I just tell you how I know that?
Go on.
Well, I don't want to do a woe is me, and I think we all know where we were when England beat Germany in the Euros this week. It's sort of become a bit of a JFK moment for everyone because you were at Wembley, and I know that because they told me on the radio where I heard it.
Oh, okay.
Not watched it, because I, Alan Cochrane, heard England beat Germany on the radio because I was stuck on the M62 in about 4 hours of traffic jam.
Wow.
So you know that house that's in between two lanes that lots of comedians do jokes about on the M62? You know, there's a house that's sort of stuck in between the
I didn't
motorway.
know that, no.
So people do jokes that it's some bloke that just refused to sell his house when
Oh,
the motorway
okay.
was being planned. I don't know what the actual truth is, but I got to watch that house at like 1 mile an hour whilst going past it for 40
There's a
minutes. or something.
house in the midst of the M62 with people living in it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a farm, I think.
Well, it's not very
But yeah,
nice for
that's-
the animals. What about the farmyard
No,
animals?
there's a lot of roadkill there. Some of the biggest roadkill I've ever seen in my life.
Well,
I mean, you
as it
can't see
happens-
over the top of some of the roadkill.
It's not very
thought I was-
picturesque for the pigs.
No.
I thought I was going to
Picturesque.
need it for a picnic whilst I was there, but no.
I'm surprised.
I'd actually-
I'd have thought the whole country was watching the match, not on
Well,
the M62.
My intention was to be at home watching the match, but they closed the M62 because of a lorry fire, I believe. But shout out to the other people that I spent time with. There must have been thousands of them that were just sat there.
Well, I mean,
A lorry driver beeped at the start of the game, like, as in, here we go. I thought that was a nice
That
touch.
must have really filled your heart with joy.
no, that can be,
Yeah.
can be very communal, a traffic jam. I find.
Well, I'll tell you something else. I had done a big food shop in Murfield, which was, looking back on it, a mistake to buy food 30 miles from my house. And it was a hot day, and I started thinking, I've got 8 packs of butter in the boot. Will they be melted by the time I get to Manchester?
It's a good
They
that.
hadn't, but
You might have a game show
Yeah.
formula there. I would write that down.
and I was getting a bit
Will
hungry.
they be
and I was
melted
thinking,
by the
well, I've
time
got-
I get to Manchester?
It could be called but for butter or worse. And so you have to
Oh, that's good.
drive a boot full of butter.
That's very good.
Booter. It could be. I can't believe it isn't booter. And you have to drive a boot full of butter across a certain part of the UK.
My only concern, Frank, is that the estate of Bernard Matthews might sue for copyright.
Maybe.
What, for
For
bootiful?
Booter, yeah.
No, I think it'd be all right. And wasn't there an African statesman called Mabuta? I don't know if his family would be happy with it. But, these are things we're going to have to, iron out in the meeting with the legal guys.
Sure.
But, I mean, the basic idea is there, in my opinion.
Frank,
well
I'm
done, Al.
assuming you went to the football, did you not?
He was there.
Yeah.
Yes, I was there, yes. And the last time I went to a football match, West Brom were in the champ.
Oh, God.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
We've had a slight incident here at Golden Square in that the way the producer tells us to shut up because we've been talking too long during a link is a fez. She uses a fez which she holds up. I know it sounds strange, but Emily brought it back from Morocco.
And I did a lot of bargaining. I think I told you about this. Jonathan Ross helped me purchase it.
Okay.
And he pointed out to the fez shop owner, he was trying to explain he wanted it small. And he said, I want a small fez. And then he said, pour une petit chat. He wanted a fez for as small as a little cat. That a little cat would work, which I thought was eccentric. Anyway, back to my colleague Frank Skinner.
Yes, so whenever I think of a fez, I think of the old Clinton Ford song, The Old Bazaar in Cairo, which used to be a bit where there's a bit about striptease on the mat, and then oompa, that's enough of that in the old bazaar in Cairo. It's a great song. But you don't want to hear about that.
So the fez is our flag, if you like.
So the fez has been broken.
Well, it's not just been broken.
Broken and hidden. You know, when you break something, you're so ashamed you hide it. Remember, my cleaner broke the bride. You know, the bride from Kill Bill. I had a fabulous one of those.
Well, you were talking about a real life woman.
And she'd broken a samurai off. You know, it's Uma Thurman.
I know.
And it was that American comic said, when you assume you make an ass out of me and Uma Thurman. But anyway, what she did, she obviously knocked it off the thing and broke it. She put the bride back and she just leaned the broken samurai across the shoulders as if I wouldn't notice.
You see, it erodes away at the fabric of society, and I feel
breakages.
The theft of the fez, it sickened me. Quite honestly, no, I'm not exaggerating. How someone, the deceit of the character,
to hide it, to destroy it accidentally, maybe.
It's been, we all make mistakes.
Could be an ex-policeman, tried it on, the pointy head.
Some of us make mistakes. That's fine. We're all God's children. What I will not accept is hiding it away, the sneakiness of putting it in that cupboard.
Do you think they should have just confessed?
Come on. We have to leave it there because we can't follow that. Anyway, that was the mystery of the fez. I think generally in broadcasting you're not allowed to go more than half an hour without some sort of crime drama.
Right.
So that's got that filled in. So yes, I went to the match on Tuesday. How I wasn't sitting looking at the mysterious M62 house.
And worrying about a £130 food shop cooking or rotting, whichever way it would have gone.
No, I was...
Had Greek yoghurt in there, Frank.
Oh, come on. That wasn't very apt for a Germany verse. Couldn't you have had sauerkraut?
Oh, I had that too, yeah. And bratwurst.
It was fantastic, obviously. I'll tell you something I discovered. The German national anthem actually works quite well with booing. You know when you play a bagpipes and there's the drone note that just goes
yeah.
It was like that. So it was sort of gave it a sort of depth and strength. I think the Germans should incorporate booing into it generally as a walk down memory lane for Tuesday night. I know people disapprove of this sort of thing, but it's all part of the theatre.
I like it.
Yeah, I don't mind. They can boo ass, it's fine.
Alan Cochrane, pro-booing. There you go.
Pro-booing, I've heard that, Not at my gigs, I hope. I haven't had any booing for a long time. You get the occasional, mouth.
You should put that on your poster. That'd be a nice 5 stars. I haven't had any booing for a long time.
Yeah.
Frank Skinner. I'd come and see the show on the basis of that.
Yeah.
I might put
I'd
it.
be looking at it thinking, he sounds on form.
Yeah.
Worth a look.
Whereas in my personal life, I get booing on a daily basis.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I realised, by the way, that we've got several listeners in Scotland, Wales and Ireland who probably don't really want to hear much about England beating Germany. I won't go on and on. Just to say, we got a bit of hospitality. I went with David Baddiel and our 2 sons. It's his son is 16 and mine is 9, so we had to wear suits and ties, we were told. So it looked like a really rough draft of Reservoir Dogs.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
the tall and the short, the elderly.
It's Reservoir Dogs and the intern dogs.
I'll tell you what, when we got to the hospitality bar place, no one else was in smart outfits. Everyone else was just England shirts, jeans, and then was just us four. It looked like, you know, when you see the Jehovah's Witnesses canvassing a council estate, and they're sort of, if we didn't have our briefcases with us, but apart from that, we got the wrong message. But it was fine. I didn't mind that.
Did they look
the way-
after you? Did you get fed?
Oh yeah, we got fed. Yeah.
What'd you get? Greek yogurt and 8 packets of butter.
Yeah, 8 packets of butter
Yeah.
we had each, just so we could fill out our sports replica shirts properly. No, it was all nice. Speaking of Reservoir Dogs, when I had my nightmare night at the Brits, when I hosted the Brits,
Can you give me a rant next time you're going to mention it? Because
Okay.
I need to sort of steel myself.
One thing I remember about it was mentioning Reservoir Dogs. Michael Madsen was presenting an award.
Oh, yeah.
And just before he came on, one of the organisers came to me and says, Michael doesn't want any interview or anything like that. Can you just step off the stage? He wants to come on and just do it all himself. And I thought it was a very clear thing of not wanting to die by association.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so he came on and thought, I don't want this. I don't want anyone to see me in a photograph which has got this bloke dying in it and think, oh, there's 2 blokes dying.
It happens
He didn't
in
want to remove you from the picture like Stalin.
No,
guy.
exactly.
It happens in the guerrilla community, I believe.
Does it really?
They allow them to, if someone knows things aren't going well, I mean, not necessarily a gig, I'm talking health-wise for the guerrilla, they disappear to another area and the others abandon them.
Well, that happens with comics, doesn't it, Al? It's a bit different. When someone's dying, everyone comes out the dressing room to watch, but they don't want to get too close after lest there should be contamination. But I thought Michael Madsen was a bit... I wasn't happy about it.
Where is he now, Frank?
Well, I actually cut his ear off in a garage after. Thought he was asking for it. So, anyway, England beat Germany. That's what happened on Tuesday night. And I'll tell you something, I thought, I felt a bit Andy Murray at the end. I thought Sweet Caroline went slightly better than Three Lions in the post-match sing-song.
Did you?
Is that what Andy Murray's been discussing in his post-match interviews?
No, but you know, he's someone on the downward slope is the general vibe now for someone who's had great times. And I felt like we beat Germany and lost to Neil Diamond in extra time. But, you know, I tend to put a bit of sometimes a bleak sweep on things.
Yes,
I mentioned this to Dave, and he just slapped me across the face. But, you know, every friendship has a bit of rough and tumble, I find. Remember Dumb and Dumber?
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Did you get to hang out with David Beckham, Ed Sheeran?
No, but I tell you what did happen. We were having a bit of a post-match bratwurst to celebrate, and Mo Farah came over, and I thought Boz, in case you don't know, is my 9-year-old. I thought he won't know Mo Farah, so I said, Boz, this is one of our greatest ever runners, and he went, are you Mo Farah? And it was great. It was a great moment. I think even Mo must get it a lot.
A great moment.
Really, a great
Lovely,
moment.
Frank.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you what. I think he spotted him. You know those hats, baseball hats with the clapping hands on? Well, Mo had modified one of them. I don't know if he'd stitched it itself, so it formed a Mobot
To do the end.
on top of it. Yeah.
Good.
Just in case someone hadn't spotted him.
Buzz sent me a lovely picture of him and with Mo Farah.
Oh, yes, he was very excited.
And your mother-in-law commented, I haven't been this excited since sliced bread.
Yeah, what a party that was. I think it was just her, Marion Faithfull. and some people
I
thought...
do like the idea of her being there at the launch of sliced bread.
Well,
I imagine was the 20s, perhaps?
There was it? A good question.
I don't know. I'm guessing the 20s.
There used to be a saying,
was
didn't
sliced
there?
bread.
People used to say this is the best thing since sliced
Yes,
bread.
since sliced bread, but they didn't say, I haven't been this excited since sliced bread. That's a slightly different meaning, which I enjoy.
It also suggests that sliced bread is maybe no longer around.
Yeah.
I must admit I prefer it. I think there's something
It
a
is
bit
good.
showy about unsliced bread.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Right. It's a bit farmer's market.
Yeah, it is. It's a bit artisan.
Yeah.
091,
£8 is what it is.
Al,
Come on.
did you read this? 091
Yeah.
says, hi, Frank, Emily and Alan. Hearing Frank talk about him going to the England game with David Baddiel and our two sons made them sound like such a nice little family. It's a bit like Elton John and David Furnish.
Yes, it was a bit like that.
Jem and Meow would be so proud.
It was a bit. Also, I like being at a match in a suit and tie because if you watch the 66 World Cup final, when they have shots in the crowd, there's loads of people in a suit. I think in the 60s, people just put on a suit and tie generally.
Yeah.
And I always like the idea of turning up at a match like that rather than wearing the colours. I did actually have an England shirt on under my shirt. Strange thing to do, I know, but it felt right.
Hot day to do that.
Oh, remember, it was 5 o'clock.
An invisible layer.
The sun was beginning to go down, and
I liked
think
your looks.
I think
Yeah, I
Oedipus
thought it
is
looked
mother.
good.
So.
Well, Al, did you think... I thought Frank went... very good. I thought Frank's look was quite Rat Pack, which I liked.
Yeah.
Yeah. David was... I like David's look. It was the more Italian on his way to an informal script meeting. It's a bit more casual, his look.
Yeah. He's always been a bit more.
I liked it.
I like, having been in lockdown for 9.5 years, or what it seems like. I like the excuse to put a tie on and stuff. I never did that. Didn't wake up one lockdown day and think, you know what, I'm going to dress up today just because I am what I am. I am my own. No, I've just stayed in elasticated stuff. And it was good too. You know, I felt like I was
And you
in a
look great.
spacesuit.
I love each spangle and each feather.
It covers a multitude, and as I always say, I look better in a suit than Daniel Craig. Too muscular. Daniel, take the tip.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
So I went to the British Museum to the Thomas Becket exhibition. I've got to tell you, it was brilliant. I mean, I went on my own, and so there was no one saying, for God's sake, can we go now? And I was in there like 2 hours.
There's no one saying, will no one rid me of this troublesome or meddlesome?
Well, turbulent is what they settled for in the exhibition. So, yeah. I'm sure you all know the Thomas Becket.
Yeah.
The king's fed up and he says something like, I'm sick of this bloke. Will no one rid me of this turbulent priest? And 4 knights think, we'll do it. And then he said, I didn't actually mean it, you idiots.
Yes.
But it was great. It was so Catholic. It went through the Catholic ceiling. There was reliquaries galore.
I would call it peak Catholic.
Oh, absolutely. There was, in fact, they did a 5-star review in The Guardian, and then the bloke, because he was in The Guardian, panicked and said, it is in no way looking back to the happy days for Catholic England. It's just a completely different world where people believe that bones can do magical things. And I thought, what, people don't think that anymore? What are they? What's the matter with them? No imagination.
Thomas, I call him.
Tommy.
He liked...
Beck.
Or something
Loser,
Beck. Frank. There was...
Sorry, we just played Loser by Beck on here. It would have been the perfect thing if it was right across the Decade channel.
Thomas Becket, he's sometimes known
Sometimes,
as.
yeah.
Do you prefer Becket or Becket?
I used to call him Thomas Becket, and now I call it seems to have settled. I don't know where the came from. Wasn't there a footballer played for Liverpool called Alan Accourt?
Oh, yes. I think that would suggest that's a French thing, isn't it?
Yeah, probably.
So Thomas of Becket.
But He's Thomas Becket for me. You wouldn't say Rob Becket, would you?
I would now.
Okay, let's call him Robert Becket on the show from now on.
So what sort of stuff was at this Catholic afternoon out for you?
Well,
gift shop.
The highlight, and I don't want to do spoilers, but the highlight is that you get a section of Thomas Becket's skull. Because when they hit him, the sword broke, but also the top of his head was slightly removed.
Oh, it's a shame.
Yeah.
When you say you get a section, you mean that you can see it. You don't mean everyone gets a little piece.
No, you don't get a section.
Memento.
No, it's not Cadbury World.
I thought that as well.
I found it, seeing his skull, a bit of his skull, I found absolutely amazing and moving and all the rest of it. I'll be straight with you. It reminds me of when I went to the Elvis Wart Museum, where someone has built an entire museum just around a wart that Elvis had removed in the 50s. I think there should be more exhibitions about people where there's actually a little bit of the person involved.
Well, do you know what? I'm going to make it my life's work to build the Frank Skinner Veruca
you know
museum.
what? I've never had a Veruca.
No, you know why? Because you're immaculate.
Are we playing I've Never?
That reminds me of someone told me they worked with Bruce Forsyth and he had the tiniest notes written on his thumb, and she said, God, you must have fantastic eyesight. And he said, never read a book. Little tip for you there. Anyone listening?
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
Oh dear, I've got emotional at my own song. Forgive me. And this, oh God.
Do you know I love this?
It's because there was a bit of footage on the telly of Rome, and I thought, oh my God, we're going to win it. Anyway, this is Frank Skinner.
Can I just say 6-8? Oh, yeah. Sorry,
yeah.
Go on.
Yes. Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio, Emily Dean, Alan Cochrane. Text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram, at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Football.
682 has brought you back down to earth with one of the cliches that comes up whenever that song is played by you. Royalties are rolling in. Frank, well deserved.
God.
I mean, we do get
Every
a lot
time.
of royalties rolling in. We've had a few
Every
other
time.
people. Well, I'll tell you who's taken it one further is one of our regulars. Duncan Edward has said visions of Frank in a swimming pool of cash like Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Royalties are surely coming home too.
I mean, you'd be surprised how less. But yes, it does get mentioned a lot. My manager was saying this week that David Baddiel phones him about it once a week.
Well, he's a money-saving expert, as we know.
Well, Reader 866 has asked a searching question that I like. It's a bit more interrogative than about the financials. Dear Frank and the gang, for the last few weeks I've been woken up by the dulcet tones of Baddiel, Skinner and the Lightning Seeds. The one question I have is this, Frank. How is your voice so high-pitched in the song compared to now? Honestly, I have no idea what's happened. I don't remember you having a high-pitched voice in the 90s, though I was only 5 when the original Three Lions song came out. Have a good rest of show, especially as it's coming home. That's nice, isn't it?
Well, I think that there's a basic misunderstanding there of the difference between the spoken voice and the singing voice. I mean, if you meet Alan Jones, he doesn't say, "How are you, Frank?" It's a different thing that he takes.
He really
on.
should.
No, if he did, I'd love it.
And he'll get a shot when you meet Sarah Brightman.
He says to
She
me,
doesn't say, "Hello."
Alan Jones said to me that at Christmas he would still say about 85% of his Christmas cards have got snowmen. People think, I bet no one else has done this.
Oh, yeah.
But
I
anyway,
bet he gets a lot of walking in the air jokes, you know.
I went to a party in Cardiff many years ago.
Congratulations.
And he was there. It made me really happy that he was there. One of the great joys, I think, is the cliched view of celebrities and public figures is when they do exactly what you want them to do.
Oh, yeah.
Like we had Me and Dave, some of our older listeners will know, did a TV show called Fantasy Football. And we had Chaz and Dave on because they'd done a few football songs themselves. Spurs are on their way to Wembley. Tottenham's going to down it again. And they were late arriving. And
Frank, sorry, do you remember they did that terrible song? She won't stop talking. Why don't you give it a rest?
Rabbit.
She got more rabbit than Sainsbury's.
And what about carriage best? Carriage best. Their signs of arrest. Don't take my word for it. Put it to the test. You can't beat a point of carriage best. Well, all our advertisers will be phoning up now and saying, why isn't he singing? You know, we paid £200 a month.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sorry, meanwhile.
They were late for filming, Chaz and Dave, and we got a frantic call from the researcher who'd picked them up from the station to say that they'd made him stop off at a pie and mash shop. And I thought, I'm all right with that. I don't mind the whole thing being delayed. That is so what should happen.
Brilliant.
If you've ever seen a public figure exactly in the context you want them, let us know. That would be good. I haven't finished with my... I'm genuinely recommending the Thomas Becket. That's not a joke. There's a stained glass window from Canterbury Cathedral
there is.
which shows a blinding and castration ceremony. Something you don't often see in a stained glass window. And then you get a part 2 when the bloke's eyesight and everything has grown back thanks to the intervention of Saint Thomas. And there's 2 blokes pointing at this bloke's crotch in a sort of a ta-da kind of a way. It's back. Look, it's back. You remember it's gone, it's back.
How do you like these apples?
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
781 has said, unfortunately not me, but my friend saw Gérard Depardieu getting on a moped in Paris wearing a stripy jumper and beret and carrying a baguette.
That can't possibly
I wonder. I mean, that is exactly the sort of thing we're after, but not in a hearsay version.
Did he have
Just
onions hanging around?
I actually thought he was going onions. It's a good lie in that he didn't go onions. I don't think he needed stripy shirt. Beret was maybe an error.
I mean, please.
I don't want to do a lying workshop on breakfast television, but if you're gonna, I think the beret was a step too far.
Is you calling this breakfast television one of your lying workshops?
Oh
tips?
God, that was a terrible, tragic Freudian slip flashback for. Although that could be the next stage of my career, of course, breakfast.
We've had a wonderful compliment for you, Frank, but it doesn't relate to your work on here, so it's fine. 848, Frank, as poetries are, do you want to just drink that in? You're actually being called that now? Can I ask you to pause and enjoy the sheer poetry of sheer lions, he said. I think he means 3 lions.
Okay. I love sheer lions.
I can't listen
sheer
to
nylons, you see.
without an attack of lachrymosity.
Goodness.
Like all great art, it appears to speak to you personally. It takes me back to 1982 and my wide-eyed belief. And all my nearly there's a life of being an England fan. In the end, it's the hope that kills you, and yet we still believe. Thanks for playing my 8-year-old daughter Aurora's favourite song of all time. Thanks to 3 lines, she knows more about Nobby Styles than Harry Styles.
Well,
That's from Matt in Surrey. I like you, Matt.
Yeah, less teeth, but better at football. That's my summary.
Okay.
I'll tell you what they had in the Becket exhibition. They had a lot of bones which had been used in medieval London for ice skating. Now, did you know about that? People used
I remember it, yeah.
People used to tie bones to the bottoms of their shoes and use them as ice skates.
Are you sure that wasn't an episode of the Flintstones?
It's got an element.
And then they took a call on using a brontosaurus's tail.
Yes, so the medieval peasantry were all out skating on... I like the idea that they were doing figure of 8s, but didn't know because of the illiteracy levels. It shows that it's an
In
instinctive thing.
the Rob Becket Museum,
Yeah.
he'd have KFC bones because he's gone viral
Has
this
he?
week. Oh,
Has he?
Rob Beckett's Instagram is a thing of pure joy. Yeah, I urge you to get involved. He pictured himself after the game, Frank, slumped in an alley with a KFC bucket,
Wow.
with a police van near him.
I always thought it's extremely convenient the KFC comes in a bucket.
Yeah.
It's good that they've thought that through, like to the final chapter.
Yeah.
One of these reliquaries of Beckett, reliquaries, what they keep a bit of someone in, it's like a silver figure of him with a sword through his head, like what you get at a joke shop. Those ones that you clip over your head? It honestly looks like that. And that's the one with a bit of skull. Anyway, go and see it. It's brilliantly. I must tell you about when I taught Chaucer at College of FE, and I cheated.
Met him.
I cheated. Yeah, exactly. I cheated. I pretended I spoke Middle English, and I didn't. I did entire lessons going, and a landlord and a wife lay honking at both indies. And they all just, it's terrible looking back, terrible sham.
Oh.
It's a great line, though. The landlord and his wife lay honking at both ends about them in bed at night. Oh, Chaucer's still getting laughs on breakfast television. Oh, I've said television again.
I know.
It's so pathetic.
I'm going to talk to you about it. Play the song.
It's so pathetic.
I know it is.
Oh, my God. It's like these, these Japanese guys who thinks the war's still going on.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Can I share this with you boys from 007?
Yes, please.
Al, you okay
Bond.
with that? Hearing from 007?
Oh, yeah, I always like to hear from Bond.
Okay. Hello, Frank and everyone. On the subject of celebrities in their element, my wife and I honeymooned in Venice. We stayed at a swanky hotel in its own island. That will happen in Venice. We had to catch a launch to the main part of the city, and one day we shared the launch with none other than Alan Wicker.
Okay, now Alan Wicker, for our younger listeners, he was like, who's in the travel chair now? It's that guy who does...
Simon Reeve?
Yeah,
No,
Simon
yeah.
Reeve, who likes an ethnic scarf. It's that Alan Wicker liked like a spotted dicky bow, and that's, times have changed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it
He
would have been Michael Palin in the travel.
It would have. So he sat in the travel chair with him. He looked...
Sort of a sedan chair.
Yes, and he was rhyming slang as well.
Alan Wicker.
Alan Wickers.
Was he really?
For the that's what us ladies called our undergarments.
Oh, I never knew that.
Got your Alan Wickers.
I remember seeing a Cockney rhyming slang dictionary that had
Maybe it was just
it had Frank Skinner for dinner.
It didn't.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Winners' dinners. Remember him? He looked. Anyway, back to Alan Wicker. He looked very splendid, and he was with his wife. They both looked quite frail, though, and it did not seem appropriate to ask him if he was off to Wicker Island or something. So we travelled with them, but didn't speak. But I will always regret not speaking to the great gentleman.
Oh.
That's David in Chippenham.
Yeah, he was one of the
That's
old
nice.
school, wasn't he? I think is it the Cipriano in Venice? Is the
Cipriano,
posh
yeah.
hotel that's
Yes.
on the island?
Yes.
Never been there.
Yes, it's a big. The fashion people are very fond of that.
One of the dangers if you get onto the islands is you get, my hatred of glass with a bit of paint in it. There's a place
Oh,
that
yeah.
specialises in that. Venice, they love it there in Venice. Awful.
Well, I can't. I hate coloured glass. I hate a blue glass. I can't drink out of it.
What about glass with a blinding and castration ceremony? Have you got a view on that yet? Okay.
I'm all over it.
You can't drink out of a coloured glass. No.
I was at an ex-boyfriend's
Live a
once,
little.
and he gave me a blue glass.
Yeah.
And it was early doors in the relationship. I mean, this was a bold move to be this orcs early on. Normally,
Yeah.
you store up the high maintenance, and it's too late. They're sucked in.
Yeah.
But it was about date 4. I said, I'm really sorry, I can't drink out of that.
Oh, wow. Really?
How? Yeah. He said, what do you mean? I said, it's blue.
Did he just break up with you there and then?
No, he was foolish. He persisted. And he said, "Oh, what's the problem with it?" I said, it makes me feel sick. Is this quite a lot for date 4, by the way?
No, I think we all have those when I haven't dated for a long time, but I used to get those flash frames. People used to insert these things into TV and it says things like the BBC are evil and it just comes up for a second and it's gone.
Yeah.
I'd be talking to someone and they'd say something, I'd get this relationship will never work flash frame come up and just a bit shaken by it. But
I think he would have got that.
I never got past those, I must say.
The blue
coloured glass, that's
I just
strict.
said, look, I said, it just makes me a bit sick because I like to see into the abyss of the liquid.
You see, for me, I don't think we've got a clean glass in our house. And I don't think I've ever cleaned the glass to the point where it's clean. To me, a glass is always dirty. So a coloured glass at least puts a brave face on that.
Do you like Frank's version of I've never cleaned a glass
I've
to
never
the point where it's clean?
No, I've never. I've always cleaned it to the point where it's still a bit smeared, but I've thought that'll do.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Oh, can I just share this before we move on?
Okay.
There's a lovely little story about you.
Okay.
It's okay. I've cleared it.
Right.
I've cleared it. Tracy, 764.
I'm worried.
I met Frank in 2002.
2002 was all right. I'd stopped by then. Okay.
Whilst working at Birmingham Bullring, HMV.
Yeah, now that is this a celebrity where you expect them to be?
Absolutely.
Listen to this. He was my hero at the time. Don't worry, that sounds like things are about to change. They don't.
Yeah, at the time. I'd have left that out if I was reading it.
No, luckily she... Yeah, I know, I should, but don't worry.
It's fine.
I like to put the Jeopardy in for you, so you get a nice surprise. Yeah. I told him so and asked him to sign his autobiography. He told me to get a better hero and then went on to sign my book with a list of better people to choose as my new hero.
Oh, wow.
Absolute perfection, Tracy. Now, that is classy, Frank.
But what I want from Tracy is who was on that list.
Yeah, Kim Jong-il.
Yeah.
Stalin.
Is Kim Jong-il, is that the dad?
That's the daddy.
Oh, that's the dad.
That's, who
no longer with us, of course.
I refer to
trying to date it about the right time.
Yeah, he's past.
The daddy. I mean, I refer to him as Big Daddy, but that's between me and him.
Still remembered, I think it's fair to say. In
We
North
still
Korea.
believe.
Do you think they sing it in North Korea?
We still believe. Can you imagine if you found out that had been adopted? As a sort of anthem over there.
I would still be pleased. I think that people wouldn't be saying they're full, but they're getting a load of royalties from North Korea. Yeah, imagine trying to enforce that.
I don't know. I'd fancy your manager's chances if anyone could do it.
Rocket Man, as Donald Trump called it. When's Joe Biden's first joke going to come?
Don't
hold your breath.
It doesn't do the jokes.
No, you got to do it. If you're a politician, you have to do a joke now and again during your speeches.
The thing is, you just lose sight. Is it difficult? They don't know when they're funny at all because the people laugh so obsequiously everything they say.
It's like being Elvis. Yeah.
So they'll be signing a document or a treaty and they'll say, oh, thought it wasn't going to work then.
Yeah.
They think that's funny.
Yeah, Prince Charles gets that as well. He'll say something. I must admit, I wouldn't mind having that in my life. Just guffawing yes men and women around me. At first, I might have a bit of, just acclimatisation, but after a bit, I think I could probably get to like it.
I think you'd miss us.
Oh, yeah, probably. Yeah, light and shade.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
By the way, can I just say, a second, if any of our listeners, what is this? I just tried Al on this and he got it on his second guess.
Yeah.
My first guess was comedic, though, so to be fair.
Yeah, yes.
I didn't guess because I couldn't be bothered.
Well, you can see me.
But I can see you. But do it again, Frank, just in case.
Okay. Oh, it's very... This might be our worst ever texting that we've done.
Well, we did have a text in earlier about seeing a celebrity in a sort of appropriate way, like, you know, for example, if you were to see John McEnroe and he was shouting at somebody, that would be like the right vibe to see. And Tracy texted us to say that she'd met you in Birmingham, which that's it, innit? That's all you need.
That would do.
At the Bullring Centre, and you'd given her an autograph and recommended that she get a different hero. She's now sent another text to say, as requested, celebrities on Frank's list included the following. I'm not at home right now, so cannot recall all of them, but standouts were Elvis Presley, Charles Dickens, David Baddiel.
Wow.
Two were already my obsessions, not so much the other one. But I don't know who those two were.
No, you're right. Not
She's let us guess.
I like to think that David Baddiel is a combination of the other two.
Oh, David Baddiel's my obsession.
I'd put Baddiel and Dickens in the same bracket.
He's not. He doesn't cross over with Elvis.
No, I'm thinking Bad Beard.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't cross over with Elvis. I think that's correct. Speaking of textings, what about worst textings we've ever had on the show?
Yeah.
I mean, before that was I think last week's when I asked, is there any commonplace phrases that you've turned into a liturgical chant, and we got 0 replies.
I know, that was terrible.
That surprised me.
377 staple remover. That's Gavin in Suffolk has suggested.
A staple remover? I didn't know there was such a thing as a staple remover.
I mean, well, Gavin must be some sort of office supplies manager. He's very specific.
Sounds like a new diet, the staple remover.
I think.
No potatoes.
Yeah, staple remover. Frank, can you confirm or?
It isn't that. Shall I text? I don't want people squandering their 50 pences on this. It's me trying to get a toothpick out of a toothpick container. Is what it is. Okay. I have if anyone can help me with this, I just say in 2 hours. I have a vague memory of a TV show that had sound effects like that. You had to say what they. And I'll tell you something else that's gone. In fact, I'm going to do one of these if I can find it. Here we go. Whatever happened to those competitions where it was an article photograph from a close-up, an unusual angle? Do you remember that? You'd think, what is that? Some sort of strange lunar? No, it's a cheese cheese grater. Oh God, yeah, I can see it now. It's a cheese grater shot from one end and very close. What happened to those? Do they still exist? 8, 12, 15.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 8 12 15. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
Very good.
Here's the thing. I went for lunch this week. I dined out. Still feels like a tremendous new innovative thing to do. And I was in the restaurant, and a woman started going, oh, it's coming home, it's coming home, it's coming home. Can I have a photo? Can I have a photo? So I said, yeah, and I went over and I did a photo, and she's going, oh, it's coming home, it's coming home. And then this bloke walked past and said, well, when you walked in, she said you was Paul O'Grady. I mean, I had 6 dogs with me.
Yeah.
To be fair. No, but she was. I never said. She clearly had said that. I was fine with it. I can see, old geezer, vaguely familiar.
Yeah.
But I'll take my. I would have happily signed as Paul O'Grady if required.
Would you?
Oh, God.
Nice. Does he do POG just to save time?
I don't know what probably just a paw print nowadays.
Yeah.
He was one of my co-nominees when I won the Perrier, when he was Lily Savage.
Oh, was he?
Oh, yeah.
Very funny man.
I wonder, does he still do that? The dogs probably don't like the cigarette smoke.
I don't think he does Lily Savage anymore.
No, he does the
I can't
dogs
say
now.
for certain.
He does dogs now.
Yeah, I mean, they're all at it. You pioneered it.
You know what? I walked so they could run.
Oh, well, good on you.
That's
Thank
nice.
That is nice.
That's not the only mistaken identity story this week, you being Paul O'Grady, I mean. An ITV presenter has been duped by a Jurgen Klopp lookalike.
Jonathan Swain.
Jonathan
Actually,
Swade.
Yeah!
Yeah.
I mean, did you see this incident, boys?
I should say, in case you didn't see
He
it,
was a real silly
the
bit.
sports reporter guy on Good
dear.
Morning Britain claimed, and now I've watched this 3 times, the clip, because I thought, is he joking? He isn't joking. So he says, there's this guy who does a Jurgen Klopp, the Liverpool manager, he does a sort of lucky-likey thing of him. And he saw him on Wembley Way with a bunch of England fans. And he said, what a great bloke Jurgen Klopp is hanging out with, sitting on the shoulders of one England fan with a can of beer.
Yeah.
And he thought, really? In his Liverpool tracksuit?
That is part of the disguise, if you're a Jurgen Klopp lookalike, to wear the full tracksuit
Yeah.
and the hat like Jurgen Klopp does.
But like I said, I thought he's doing this tongue-in-cheek, but I've watched it and I really don't. I think he was fooled.
Oh, he was. You know, he was interviewed afterwards, Swain. Swain was interviewed on by Kate Garraway afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
And they made him do a live link-up with the Klopp lookalike Ray Cornwall, eccentric millionaire, 61, I believe.
Harry words
Oh.
together.
Actually, he was described in the headline in the Sun
Tycoon?
as millionaire tycoon. Do they have? Can you be a non-millionaire tycoon?
Also, it's
And
tycoon.
penniless tycoon, Dave. What are you talking about? Millionaire or tycoon? You don't need both.
Tycoon is quite 70s. It's quite sort of
I love tycoon.
whizzer and chips.
My all-time favourite is plutocrat. But we're all different.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We were discussing Ray Cornwall, the Jurgen Klopp lookalike.
Yeah, the millionaire tycoon.
Who we should just say looks very, very like him. A lot of these lookalikes are rubbish, aren't they? But he really does look the part.
He is a good one.
Mm-hmm.
He's short. He's considerably shorter, apparently.
Is that
Jurgen
right?
Klopp's quite a big lad.
Jurgen's
Isn't
about 6'2".
Maybe that's why he's on that guy's shoulders.
Yeah, that's
to
what
just
it
make
is.
look
Yeah.
like-
Maybe they had one long overcoat on.
One of those
Done
padded
up.
ones like Arsene Wenger used to wear.
Ow, done up too tightly at the neck to conceal the hoax.
Oh man, that was a Beano classic. Two kids getting into.
Do you think the Liverpool fans or the Germany fans have ever shouted, "There's only one Jurgen Klopp," and are now having to revise their opinion? 'Cause
Well,
there's
I'm worried about me Mo Farah now. Maybe it was a millionaire rich bloke who's going around as.
Eccentric millionaire tycoon. I like how he owned when they. I believe it was the Sun or one of those was saying how he'd earned his money, and they said who has built his fortune through a successful chain of Mexican restaurants, a property empire, and a classic car hire business.
Oh.
I mean, there's a lot to unpack in that business
there is.
empire, isn't there?
No, he's. I like a bloke who's spread his interests a bit.
entrepreneurial.
Jonathan Swain, did you say then that he's done an interview admitting that he was fooled?
They had him live on air, and Jonathan Swain said in it, he sort of looked faux embarrassed, and then he said, and this is what I didn't like. He said, well, to be fair, I mean, if I'd have, seen him eating pork scratchings and drinking pints, alluding to the video of him drinking, then I think the penny might have dropped.
But he did see him doing that.
And I thought,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I think the penny would have been on its way down when he was singing "It's Coming Home."
Yeah.
Surely.
I know, I've got a
German player.
The most famous
Celebrating
German in
England.
football singing "It's Coming Home."
And then his next article, he said, I was in Kensington Palace Gardens. I saw Princess Diana the other day with 2 kids. Unbelievable. No, Jonathan. No, honest, I did. It was amazing. Oh, no. Adverts. Go to adverts, Steve. Oh, I am reminded of an early... I think I did this story as stand-up, but I was at my first ever Edinburgh. There was a show about Hans Christian Andersen, the children's writer. Oh. And I saw the bloke doing they used to have these shows where people would do 10 minutes from their show as a little tease, and they'd come and explain the show and then do a bit. And he came on dressed as Hans Christian Andersen, and he said, yes, he was obviously an actor who was inventing stuff, and he said, yes, he said, when the reason I play Hans Christian Andersen is so many people have told me I look like him. And I thought, that is not true. No one's ever got on the bus and said, hold on, is that Hans Christian Andersen at the back? God, it is. If it isn't him, it's his double. I know. Nobody knows. What does he look like?
It's like saying, you know who you really look like? Thomas Becket.
Yeah, exactly. You ever thought of doing a Thomas Becket sort of, kissogram type thing? The Little Liar.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Briefly, before we return to the Jurgen Klopp lookalike, I'd just like to bring your attention...
The Kloppelganger.
Yeah, very good. Do you think if it was like a band where you get tribute acts, he'd be called Jurgen Clipperty? You know, when they do the little joke.
Oh, lovely, Al.
682 has texted in. You asked what our worst texting ever had been.
Oh, no.
Frank.
Why do you do that to us,
I think it's a
Frank?
rhetorical
Yeah, but
question.
don't do that to us, because it's very depressing.
Okay.
I like how pithy this is. Worst texting, how do you dirty a bra? You did it, Frank. I've heard it on the podcast.
Yeah, I think I did.
Didn't.
Because Kath had said to me, oh, God, I'm wearing a dirty bra. And I thought, how did they get dirty? They never really... I said for early Madonna, they're never really on the surface.
Yeah.
But anyway... Yes, I bet the response...
Maybe not in your house.
The response wasn't enormous. I wouldn't have thought, how do you dirty a bra?
Well, I think you lit up the switchboard, actually.
Well, the thing... Can I say one thing about the Jurgen Kloppelganger is that Jurgen Klopp, normally when you see him, wears a baseball cap.
Yeah.
And that's a slight problem because celebrities, I find... tend to wear a cap when they're out if they don't want to get recognised. So if you're a celebrity who people expect to see in a cap, you're slightly... What you need to do maybe is not wear a cap.
Yeah.
But honestly, having met several celebrities trying to keep a low profile at public events, the baseball cap or the sort of flat cap is the general choice.
Oh, yeah.
So if Jurgen Klopp was to, say, go shopping in Liverpool, he would leave the baseball cap at home and perhaps just wear an Alice band.
Yeah, I think that would...
You know what? He'd wear what I call a Grealish. I'm rechristening those to... They're the Grealish. I love a Grealish.
I mean, Jurgen Klopp is obviously a great football manager, but he's had the hair transplant, the whitened teeth, the fake tan... The glasses. You can basically get him in kit form if you really want to be a Jurgen Klopper-like.
I've got to say, when I saw this picture of Ray Cornwall flash up, I instantly knew it wasn't Jurgen because the teeth weren't. They weren't fake enough.
Oh well, I think they're Jurgen's teeth. They're just very, very white, aren't they?
Well, they're veneers.
Ah,
Are they?
Yeah.
Because he's my teeth spirit animal, so I'm.
In order to get veneers, you have to file down your existing teeth to points.
Oh, and then put like caps. Oh, really? How do you know that?
Just writing this down.
I know a lot about it.
Okay.
I haven't had them myself, but I understand that. And they look great. In fairness.
No.
But I'm just saying.
You can't be in the same room as Graham Souness, or everybody has to wear those glasses that you need to use to watch the eclipse.
If they were walking down Wembley Way together, people would be leaping out the way thinking it was a van with headlights on.
Look, I'd be happy with those teeth. I'm just saying they weren't Jurgen's teeth.
I have to say, I mock the teeth whitened folk, but
I know.
sometimes I do look in the mirror and think, oh my God, my teeth do look like they're from the Middle Ages.
Well,
But, you know.
That's all right. I mean, Boris Johnson's got hair from the Middle Ages. We've all got,
Yeah, he has
medieval...
really. He could be in a Bruegel painting with his, like spinning a top at a country fair.
I said this week, that picture of him, when they flashed up that photo of him watching the football, I honestly swear this is true. I wasn't joking. The only other person I've ever seen with hair like that was in a book called Life in Medieval Britain.
Oh, yeah?
It was a colour illustration. That's what he looks like.
Yeah, that's what they want now. The medievals all coming back. At last, soon the Anglo-Saxons will be back in fashion. I've got to say, I was thinking, I hope we get Denmark in the semi-final, because I'd like to get my own back for what the Vikings did to Lindisfarne in the 9th century.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
926 has got in touch. Read Tycoons and Plutocrats.
Oh, yeah.
My favourite has always been Magnate.
Oh, Magnate is good, yeah.
However, this is usually reserved for shipping magnates.
Yeah, they are. That's true.
E.g. Onassis. However, someone out there must be someone who owns a huge company and series of factories that manufacture magnets. I really hope he is known as a magnet magnate. That's from Gaza the barrister in Belfast. I love a barrister called Gaza.
I remember in Laurel and
I wonder if
Hardy
he means
once.
barista.
Well, he spelt it with 2 R's and an ER.
Okay. And there's a bit where Oliver Hardy's getting married to this guy who's a rich man, and he describes him as a magnet, and he says to Stan Laurel, "You know what a magnet is, don't you?" And of course you all think he's going to think, and he says, "Sure, it's a thing that eats cheese." Oh. And I thought, see, he's taken the other step. We didn't see it coming. Oh, very, very fine. And I learnt about women from you. Okay.
And 995, Fake Jurgen, his giveaway is his accent. It sounded like he'd been modelled on a character from Hello, Hello.
Oh, okay. Good moaning.
It was a bit, yeah.
No, I never heard him speak. Oh, it's great that this guy was fooled. We've all been... it reminds me of when I saw an audience with Rod Stewart. And Rod Stewart apparently is quite nearsighted and wouldn't wear spectacles or contact lenses. And he put all the celebs at the back because he wanted it to feel like a real gig. So a hand went up and he goes, he squints into the thing and said, is that John Travolta? And he says, no, it's Bradley Walsh. A terrible look of disappointment on Rod's face. Not that Bradley Walsh isn't a good, but John Travolta. That was the terrible one when, as I said, Rod insisted on having all the public at the front and the celebs at the back because he wanted to be man of the people. And he said, any questions at all? Because all the celebs put their hands up with the questions they'd been given in the green room to ask him. But no, he was going to determine to make this a real thing. And he said to a bloke in the front, yes, mate, what's your question? And the bloke says, why don't you make good albums again like you used to in the 70s? And the terrible thing is that Rod tried to answer it, which was, awful. And then he didn't answer. He didn't ask another question for about an hour. And in the end, the producer, who was Nasty Nigel, if you remember, Nigel Lithgow, now available on Cameo, he had to go on stage and make Rod ask some more questions. No, it was awful. I mean, I think of myself as a student of awkwardness, and it was like doing an MA that night.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had a missive, a request from Tom Brandt. Okay. I don't know if he's any relation to the legendary photographer Bill Brandt.
Oh, I was thinking of the German Chancellor, Willy.
Any Brants you've got up your sleeve?
Joe Brandt.
I haven't. Oh, yeah.
He lives in, is it Brierley Hill?
Brierley.
Riley Hill.
It's spelled like Richard Briers, yes, Brierley Hill. Anyway, this is what Thomas says. Hi, loving the show. Can you please play Three Lions, please? As I missed it earlier, as football's coming home. My prediction, 2-0 England. Well, you know what? As football's coming home, I think normally we'd say no, but
We're not going to play it again because, I mean, I like the fact. Can you play it as football's coming home? I mean, that's beautiful. But there is one holy grail that hangs over absolute, which supplants all else. It is, of course, the no repeat guarantee. And if we break the no repeat guarantee, we're all out of work. I think Absolute, because it's in their official charter, I think Absolute has to close down and folds into a small suitcase.
And we get enough people suggesting that you're playing your own song for the moolah.
What about the royalties,
when you play it once, but if you play it twice in a 3-hour show, I think there'll be a steward's inquiry.
But if I played it as football's coming home.
you know, as football, I think.
Oh, man.
I like the idea if you miss a bit of radio rather than just playing the song you wanted on, a streaming service, that you message them and demand it played again.
Yeah, exactly. No rewind. I don't know if you can rewind radio, can you?
I think you should use the as football's coming home, cite that clause with Kath. Make us a cup of tea as football's coming home.
I might open my Cameo stuff with that. As football's coming home, I thought I'd wish you happy, but no. Oh, no. Okay. We should. And what else have we...
You were asking earlier for celebrities that you see in real life, but in a sort of accurate way.
Exactly as you'd want to see. Like I said,
yes.
Chas and Dave in a pie and mash.
Sure. Well, 658 has texted, Frank, Alex Higgins opened a nightclub near me in Bury back in the day. He turned up half cut, proceeded to get even more drunk and weed in a plastic plant pot, and then another bit that I will just edit out. As you can imagine, we were made up. As it turned out, he was actually just as fun in person. Top man, Shelley from Haywood.
Interestingly, as I recall, he got fined or banned or something at a major snooker tournament for urinating in a plant pot. Oh. So that was obviously his leitmotif.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see.
What's wrong with the producer? She's doing it. Is there a fire in the building?
Can I just share this with you finally? Do we have time? My mother saw one of the experts from the Antiques Roadshow and asked for his autograph. He agreed, but said, don't tell anyone else, as I'm trying not to be recognised. He was wearing an Antiques Roadshow baseball cap and sweatshirt. Back to Frank Skinner in the studio.
What I wanted that to be was I asked someone from the Antiques Roadshow for his autograph and he took out a quill from his pocket. I've no idea what the timing is now. There's a weird thing happened here, and now we're all sixes and sevens.
I think we've come to the end.
Okay, well, look, the final episode of this series of the Poetry Podcast will be out on Wednesday. You can download it wherever you usually get your podcast. It's W.H. Auden as well, which I know a lot of people really like.
Are we going to be all right tonight, Frank?
I had a moment during the show today where I honestly thought we were going to win the whole damn thing. Now, I'm not saying I've never had that before, but in 96 there was that we were heading in this trajectory, and then My Perfect Summer was removed at the last minute. And you don't always get a second chance in life, but I honestly think it's coming out.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.